In this video by TestInsights.io, we're going to take a look at how you can increase model-based testing efficiency with our CA Agile Requirements Designer integration. My name is James Walker and I'm the founder of TestInsights.io. We're a company introducing new groundbreaking machine learning and visualization approaches to transform the testing industry from spreadsheet and list-oriented into an insight-driven discipline built on the foundations of increasing efficiency and effectiveness in testing. One of the methodologies we integrate with is model-based testing, which is a new and emerging technique in the testing industry. Now, let's take a step back and actually think about what model-based testing is. So, model-based testing relies on the premise of forming models of a requirement, a design, or a system. And basically what we're doing is we're representing the desired behavior of the system in the form of a model. Okay. Now, the model can be used to derive test cases, which eventually will test the system against that desired behavior we specified in the original model. So the system must match or meet the requirements of the model which we produced. Model-based testing is widely considered as the gold standard for testing in aerospace, banking, and other kind of mission-critical systems or domain areas. And it's now at the point where it's widely available for the everyday tester to implement through an array of model-based testing tools available in the marketplace. So CA Agile Requirements Designer is the leading vendor for model-based testing. It features very powerful test case optimization capabilities for generating the minimum number of test cases, which give us the maximum amount of test coverage. In this video, we're going to be using the trial, which is available at the link given there and also in the description box below. Now, using TestInsights.io with the Agile Requirements Designer integration, we can accelerate and simplify model creation. We can identify areas of risk in your test strategy where model-based testing can assist to give you extra functional coverage. And we continuously assess test effectiveness and efficiency as the application changes, as your test case evolves sprint on sprint to identify risks present. So using TestInsights.io to increase model-based testing efficiency. So in this demo, we're going to kind of go through 4 stages. So firstly, we're going to record some system activity. So we can capture exploration or manual or automated test activities. And basically, we bring in very enriched data via screenshots, descriptions, code, logs, etc. We're then going to assess the effectiveness of our existing test suite that we have. So we're going to use the TestInsights.io visualizations to understand what test cases exist today and their effectiveness, looking at over-testing and under-testing. We're then going to use this knowledge to build a comprehensive test strategy. So we're going to pinpoint areas of risk and test inefficiencies, and we're going to use this to drive building a bulletproof test strategy based on the current business risks that we identify. We're then going to export a baseline model into CA Agile Requirements Designer to move forward and start implementing our test strategy and create optimized test suites based on the risks we identified. Okay, so this demo is going to use a mixture of TestInsights.io, NOP Commerce, which is an open source e-commerce system, and also CA Agile Requirements Designer. Now, all the links for every product that we're using in this demo is available in the description below. And you can follow along with TestInsights.io by signing up for our free trial today if you go over to the website. Now, with TestInsights, we have a recording module, which is extremely powerful. It sits inside the browser. It's available for Chrome, Firefox, and Internet Explorer. And basically, this sits there in the background and listens and learns as you execute your test cases. Okay, and it picks up on a few different things of interest. It understands what you have covered in your test case and also how you've interacted with the system. 2 crucial components there. So we're going to kick off the extension. Okay, and basically what we're going to do is we're going to start recording a new session, and we're going to add and register a new user to our NOP system. So I'm going to click on the registration screen here, and we're going to register a new female into our system. So I'm going to enter the first name, last name. I'm going to give a date of birth in here as well. And I'm going to enter an email and also a password. Okay, and now I'm going to click on register, and you'll see, a new user has been registered. Fairly simple, and I'm just going to click log out. Now what I'm going to do is click on stop recording, and I'm going to upload our session into our central repository. So I'll give this session a name so that we can go away and now upload. Okay, so what we're going to do now is we're going to head over to TestInsights.io. Now, this is a visualization platform where we can start to understand what our test cases are and what functionality we're covering. Okay, so at the base level, we've got a very simple dashboard which tells us some information about the tests which have been performed for this project. Now, what we're going to do is head over to test sessions, and this is going to tell me all of the different tests which have been created or executed for this release. Okay, so we'll see here that we've tagged each test session by the project and the release which has taken place. So we're going to go in and take a look at the test session that we just recorded. And what you'll see on the left hand side here is all of the test steps. Now, what TestInsights has actually done as we've gone through is it's given descriptive identifiers for each step. So you'll see here, click link register, click on radio input female, enter some text into the first name, etc. Now, as I'm clicking through, you'll see some of the metadata that we're tagging. We've also got code snippets coming through in here with each of the test steps being executed. And there's also even, some nice images that come through as we're doing it. So it tells you exactly what's been, interacted with and entered. So we can see the test session there. Now, if I go back here, you'll see that there was actually a number of test sessions which took place. Now, one of the cool things with TestInsights.io is I can instantly start to get a feel of what those test cases were actually doing. So if I go into the UI heat map here, I'm seeing a heat map of what pieces of functionality were interacted with via my test cases. So on the home page, you'll see that, I've got a few tests here running through the registration screen. I've got 3, in fact. And on the login screen, I've only got 2 test cases going through. And there's no tests which cover these other areas. Now, in this specific example, we're going to focus on the registration screen. Okay. So if I go through here, you'll see that, overlaid on top here is the heat map of the elements interacted with. Now, if I go over to our test model screen, what you'll see is that actually, as we've gone through, we've built up this big graph of how we've interacted with the system. So you'll see here all the various pages which have gone through with our tests. And if I expand these, like the registration, for instance, you'll see all of the sub logic that has been covered through this test scenarios. So as I say, we're going to focus on the registration screen. So I'm going to go over and just show the graph that's been created for our registration. So if I go through here, you'll see we've got a number of inputs, tests going through male and female. If I click on them again, you'll see the data that's come through and also the link back to the original tests which created that in the first place. Now, one of the things we can see here is that actually we're not covering that many combinations. In terms of the first names and the last names being interacted with here, we've got very low data coverage. If we look at the date of birth, etc., again, that's very, very low. So what we're going to do is we're going to take this baseline and we're going to export it into CA Agile Requirements Designer to start building up our coverage and building in some additional edge cases so that we can up our functional coverage. Now, in order to transform this graph into something that can be used for model-based testing, all we need to do is hit the Export BPMN button, And what you'll see is that a BPMN flow is downloaded. Now, inside CA Agile Requirements Designer, all we need to do is create a new flow. In this case, we're going to call it the registration system. Okay, we're going to delete the start and end blocks, and we're going to hit BPMN inside the import palette. And what this is going to do is it's going to bring in that BPMN file which we exported. So you'll see here it's importing, and once that's finished, you'll see it's brought that flow in into CA Agile Requirements Designer. And that flow is extremely descriptive. Okay, so you'll see here, it's brought in all of the descriptions. So clicking a radio button, entering the first names, entering the last names, entering the passwords, etc. And instantly I can go away and start to perform some test case optimization on here. Okay, so I could perform an all nodes optimization and get those paths out. Or what I can do is I can use this flow as a baseline to start adding on the additional data combinations or hitting the additional coverage which I've identified as weaknesses inside TestInsights.io. So in this flow, one of the main points that we discovered through the visualizations was that we're not hitting very many data combinations with the first names, the last names, etc. So I'd go in here and I would start to add new decision points to touch on those edge cases. Okay, so in this demo we showed how TestInsights.io can help increase model-based testing efficiency. We've recorded some system activity on the NOP e-commerce system. We assessed the effectiveness of the test cases that we recorded, looking at areas of functionality that we were covering. We identified some weak points on the registration screen, especially in regards to data combinations. And we then exported this model into ARD, where I could go ahead and I could start to add in or overlay those additional data combinations and pieces of functionality to improve my functional coverage. Okay, so thank you for watching this video by TestInsights.io. If you're interested in finding out any more information, feel free to visit our website, TestInsights.io, or get in touch via email, where we'd love to hear from you.